See, that's off a little bit. Restart it. When you restart a stream computer, it resets some settings, and I'm not terribly fond of it. There we go. Okay. So we got our 2023 roadmap instead of a producer's letter. We got a letter to the players instead of a producer's letter. And mainly it's not a producer's letter because it's not done by Severlin this time. It's actually done by Orion. So, shall we? I think we shall. All right, let me hop in here this way, and we'll pull it up. We'll take a look at it. All right, let's take a look see here. All right. Okay. So, the first part of it, we don't care, right? We don't need recaps. We were all there for it. We know what was going on. We lived it. We played it. All that good stuff. So we don't need this first part. Even acknowledge it. Let's be honest. It's old news. We don't read about last year. We want to know about 2023. Right? You know what's funny about this to me is it wasn't, I don't even remember when the tweet was. Whenever EverQuest put out their roadmap, I said, this is the information I want from Lord of the Rings, Standing Stone Games, Daybreak. I said, that's what I want. So let's see. I mean, I can't possibly be directly. So that was only, that was 9 days ago. Development roadmap for 2023. So maybe it had a little something to do with it. So they're saying that this is going to be a very ambitious year, and I want to preface ambitious with caution, because we've had ambitious years in the past, and we've been left with systems that don't work that didn't get done, and whatnot. Not to say that good things didn't come out of those, but I just want to have a little bit of caution with ambitious years. So they start off by saying that they recognize that there's some areas, systems, and experiences that need attention and sprucing up. We also understand that there is a need for level cap content and new things for you to do. Our focus in 2023 is bringing some of those experiences up to more modern expectations and the expansion of the game world, story, and direction as we begin the next 15 years of our journey together. You can see what we're planning on all 4 content patches throughout 23, each building towards the next major expansion released by the end of the year. Okay. So at that point, we know at some point in this year, in the 4th quarter, we're going to be getting a level cap increase with an expansion. Okay, that's pretty plain and simple right there. So if we look at, let's do a quarter by quarter breakdown here. All right, so winter quarter, that is the quarter that we are in right now. So we're still looking at a new instance cluster, 2 3-player instances, 1 6-player, and 1 raid. That's a good amount of content for a quarterly update, non-expansion. That's pretty good. Delving's expanded, targeted class updates, power revamp, crafting revision begins, the return of Ill Omens, monster play events, LI reward track season 5, and the spring festival. Okay, so as I said, new instance cluster. I think that's a good amount for a quarterly update. That's a good amount. That will still be level 140 cap content. I don't know yet if it'll be scaling content. Also, don't know yet if it will contain delvings or not, which I doubt it will, because what they're referring to as the delvings expanded, they're actually referring to starting off with a school and library. That's been mentioned previously, so that's not new information right there, but we'll probably see more of that coming from other missions and also more dungeons. So they said we want to start out with the school and library, which I think could be pretty interesting and semi-painful at the same time. I'm thinking even when you start off in the library, at Thom Mirdain, there are 2 urukai. Like, you zone in and you're looking at 2 urukai right out of the gate, and then there's a set of pathers that walk by. If you go activate a stone, you better be ready to pull, because it is ready to roll with the increased aggro radius from delvings. Okay. So part of this is actually below here in the text. So our journey through 2023 begins with a visit into the distant and familiar land of Angmar, more specifically the Iron City, in the poisonous waste of the northern Middle Earth, Karn Doom. There, in the shadow of the Great Citadel, a power vacuum draws from the... I love his vocabulary. From the diaspora of evil denizens, looking for any semblance of leadership and guidance. New enemies scrabble to seize power, and it falls to the free peoples to stop the rise of a single leader in the ravaged city. In case of emergency, break glass on Angmar. Yes. So you can kind of see here. Let's see. Can I actually zoom? There we go. That actually just helps in general. All right. So for all you old heads out there in the Lord of the Rings community, even if you've done this, recently on leveling tunes, we're going back to Angmar. Going back to Karn Doom, where it all started. All right. I'm down with that. Also, this image here is kind of interesting as well. The return to Karn Doom features a new endgame instance cluster with 2 3-player instances, a 6-player instance, a new raid, and all the spoils and rewards that you can expect to find in a new space. So that would tell me there are potentially allegiances, definitely reputations, and whatnot, all that good stuff. Additionally, we are expanding the delving system into the library and school at Thom Mirdain, revising the reward system slightly to make a repeatable nature and rewards of the delving systems more appealing. That is good news. That is great news, because right now the delvings are not fun. Let's put it that way. They're not fun. We're also making some more balanced tweaks to the delving system in an effort to smooth the difficulty transition as you progress towards the higher tiers. So that doesn't really address the higher tiers. The issue with the higher tiers right now is that depending on the actual combination, they can sometimes just downright be impossible with certain group comps. Like with a Guardian Hunter, it's almost just easy, because especially right now with adaptability, which it should have changed today, we did get confirmation that it is supposed to be weekly, but there were issues with some of the variants, so they had to manually set the variants until it got fixed, and then it should be fixed ish, and so it should go back into the rotation now. Okay. So we'll be also focusing on more targeted changes for classes in the first release of the new year, with the Captain and the Warden getting their first updates. I know Khan is so happy for this. Honestly, I am too, because if this revitalizes the Blue Warden as a really viable tank, Oh man, I miss those days. Tanking on the Warden was so much fun. Like, I know you can, but they used to be so viable. On a more general systems note, we are revisiting power, how it is used, how it is recovered, and its importance as a main statistic. The impact here will be less on the moment-to-moment experience on the landscape and more about the management of this resource in dungeons and raids. All right, lore masters. Are we getting a slow revision, like a revert back? Just a slow revert back to the old days? Nah, it couldn't be that, could it? We're also planning to begin a revision on the crafting system that will continue throughout the year. Our expressed end goal includes breaking apart vocations to allow players to choose which profession they want to learn, providing crafters with the ability to make some best in slot or equally competitive items to their professions, expanding upon existing crafting systems that may have been overlooked for a long time. I'm looking at you, Essences, and expanding the system for the future. This has been needed for a long time. Crafting is whether you partake in crafting or not, crafting is a pillar, an absolute pillar of a good MMO. It is one of the features that, non-raiders can partake in to actually be a part of that world. They can make awesome stuff, and like you used to have guilds or kinships that you had your people in there that they weren't raiders, they didn't go do dungeons, they didn't like that, but they kept you stocked on stuff. They made you awesome gear, and if you went and got that rare crafting material from either killing a boss or doing something in the open world, you give it to your person that's got all those little perks going, and they can make you like a guaranteed crit. That's the importance of crafting, and it needs to make a good comeback, and I'm excited to see what they do with this over the year. Crafting is hugely important. I'm very intrigued to see to find out more information about breaking apart vocations to allow players to choose which professions they want to learn. So I don't know if that just means you can learn all of them. I don't know if that just means that you can, still only have 3, but, you can pick whatever 3 you want. So it's very intriguing. It's very intriguing. I definitely want to know more. Now, this is where Bludborn gets very excited. This is where because of how long I have asked and asked and asked, we're getting just a little smidge of it. All right. Another focus will be continued importance of festival and events. Along with the return of Ill Omens, we will expand the rewards of the Spring Festival and introduce new direct player versus monster player events inside the Ettenmoors. And work toward providing a new set of cyclical events that revolve around different crafting professions. Now, I don't know about you. Now, I know it says the Ettenmoors, but direct player versus monster player events. So there is going to be reason to go to a location and fight people. There's going to be a reason to. That has been needed. That could be huge. So move into the spring and summer months, our focus will shift onto the growing threat posed to the enemies soon to be unleashed in our next major expansion. Gondor, now experiencing relative peace, needs assistance in rebuilding and assessing a strange goings on. That's weird. We will be introducing a new version of Gondor, no longer dawnless and harried by enemies on all sides, yet still threats linger and must be opposed. From a game system side, we will continue to work on targeted class updates, crafting changes, monster play updates, and further adjustments to combat statistics as we move forward to the expansion. New festival rewards for Midsummer and much more. As spring turns to summer, the tentatively titled Watching the Wing will fill your days with further adventures, new festival rewards from the Farmer's Fair, new rewards from the Treasure Boogan event, and the expansion of the delving system to higher difficulty tiers, so even past 10. We'll also make additions to 3-player instances added with Return to Karn Doom. Crafting changes will continue, and more enhancements to monster play will take place to drive forward toward the expansion in the last quarter of the year. As I said, ambitious. Now we're reaching the end of the inaugural letter to the players of 2023. We want to tease a little bit about the next expansion that we have planned for the latter part of the year. We are not fully prepared to release many details, but we want to provide you with one little tease of what is to come. As we wrapped before the shadow and began looking toward the future, we asked ourselves where we wanted to take the story and the game next. There was an overwhelming consensus that we wanted to head south to less traveled shores, across the salty sea, beyond the Bay of Belfalas, to the shore of the Corsair Kings, Umbar. And that, dear readers, is a tale for another time. Until next time, I remain Orion. All right, so we're going to Umbar. Yes, we're taking the hobbits to Umbar. I'm excited about that because that is going to require a lot of different things. There's going to be a lot of different things that are required for that. Because if you actually look how they reference that in Q4, it says new biomes. Well, that's because Umbar is largely desert. We've not seen that before. We've barely seen sand. So it's actually going to be something completely different for them. But let's go back and look at... let me scoot this over a little bit. I guess I really can't. Okay, so we kind of went through some of this stuff. So excited about the instance cluster. That's awesome. Delving's expanded. We already kind of went over that part. We know the targeted class updates are starting off with the captain and the warden. Those are two classes that I do feel that need some adjustments and some looking after at this point. The power revamp is kind of an interesting one. A lot of that comes down to how it's done and what the implementation looks like. Are we going to have larger power pools? Because if you think about it, our power pools have not adjusted with our levels. So it'll be interesting to see how all that stuff, factors in. Power has felt useless. If a power rework, for a champ was just getting rid of power and let us run off of fervor, hunters can just run off focus. RKs can just run off of attunement. Is that the rework? Just get rid of it? Just get rid of it? Maybe so, maybe not. I doubt it. Okay, so it will be. It'll be like back in the old days, like where you had to be conscious of power. Hey, LM batteries, yeah. So the crafting revision. Again, I'm very intrigued by this because I want to know, like, crafting just, it's meaningless. Unless you are a farmer. Basically, if you're a yeoman right now, like, you've got it made because you can make money. Like, all of the other crafts are just kind of useless. And I hope Orion really just kind of looks at, oh yeah, it's been a long time. Tar, we're going back to Karn Doom, buddy. We're going back to Karn Doom. Ill Omens coming back is pretty dope. Oh, sorry, that's behind my head. There we go. So yeah, only cooks and scholars make anything useful right now. That's true. But yeah, the return of Ill Omens is pretty cool. That was always a fun one, going back and doing the skirmishes for, like, I don't know if that means we're getting portents back or not, or if we're just going to get the like really legit essences. I don't know what that 100% means. Obviously the monster play events, I want to know more. I want to know more. Like get me in there, put me in, coach. I want to know. I want to get back to actually having some meaningful PvP. Like, we've all been burned time and time again by things that have happened in this game. And I can honestly say this is one of the more hopeful roadmaps I've seen. Like, it's the only roadmap we've seen. So, like, when you combine it with, you know, producers letters and, you know, quarterly updates and all that stuff and live streams, I think this is legitimately one of the biggest updates that we've seen in a very long time. Obviously, with moving into the spring quarter, you know, we're seeing the 16th anniversary, more landscape updates, which some of these are kind of vague, and that's fine, but at least we know, like, vaguely when things are supposed to happen. It looks like the spring quarter is really just a continuation, really, of what is started right now. Right. So there's one thing on here that is not mentioned in the actual letter, and I know people are just, they're just itching to know. What's this new class? What do we need at this point? Is it going to be, okay, I'm gonna throw it out there. Are we going to be looking at something kind of like Mumak Tamers? If we're going to Umbar, is it going to be something related to Umbar? Because that's, so it's going to be part, I would imagine, judging that it's in Q4, part of the level cap increase. There's a new class, new instances and raid, expanded story, new crafting updates and a new tier, new biomes, all that stuff. I honestly don't think we'll get a Creed class. I feel like that would be kind of, maybe that would just be tied into monster play updates. I guess it just depends on where they're from. But I think I'm very intrigued with us going back to Karn Doom as well, because Karn Doom is supposed to be the hub of all the stuff. This is, the update is called the Return to Karn Doom. We're getting ocean hobbits. So I'm intrigued by what I'm seeing out of this. I think there's a lot of positives to be had here. I know that the big deal, the big underscoring issue is going to be server performance. So because here's the thing. So now you're gonna have Minas Tirith before battle, during, and after battle. You also have the version for the wedding. Now you're gonna have Gondor before and after, because you'll still need to be able to go do that old stuff. Okay, so you have Mordor besieged, and you have Mordor, you know, after the fall. So we're getting a lot of these. Yeah, they really do need to get the 64-bit servers going. Could be a camel, maybe. I need a 4K UI and good server performance. That's it. I would hope that that's in there. I know that you would leave that out of a update like this, because I'm sure you really can't put a timetable on something like that. We know it's being worked on, and you know they want that out sooner rather than later. I'm sure they're tired of hearing about, you know, not having updated UI and performance being an issue. You think they like hearing about that every single day, all working hours and not? I doubt it. So if they had a way to do it, all right, random. But I think I think it will be. No. And as far as I can tell, there won't be. Fellowship maneuvers, while yes, were awesome and completely unique to Lord of the Rings Online, I think there's so much going on and so much that they're working on that I think that's just a hard thing to do. We do need a new hobby. What would it be though? I think they had a little missed opportunity with like the geode stuff. Like I think that should have been one. Golfing would be sick. Nightbot agrees, chat. Nightbot agrees. Well, I mean, we have the hunter class. They kill everything anyway, right? So I think this is really intriguing, guys. I really do. I try to be optimistic about a lot of things that these guys do. I try to give them the benefit of the doubt until it's just not good, you know? And I think you're getting it. You're getting it, High King. Yeah, that would be kind of interesting, Gorma. Because you could throw that in with the cooking and stuff like that. Yeah, that'd be kind of interesting. That'd open up the door for a lot of different foods. So, chat, let me ask you guys this. What are you most excited to see? You know, out of all the things that are listed here on the screen right now, what are you most excited for? What do you think is going to be the most impactful? I will tell you, as a whole, I'm very happy to see within the span of 12 months seeing multiple instances, 2 raids, and monster play stuff. I think that is, for me, the most important things. And crafting is up there too, because I used to like crafting and I just don't even do it anymore. The amount of resources I have at this point just in bags is dumb. That is an interesting question, Tar. I don't know. Stepped away for a few years ago, and seeing this offers me absolutely no enticement to come back. What would, Shaz? Golfing would. All right. Yeah. Well, I mean, what's the big thing? What would be the big thing? Like, if there's any one thing that would bring you back into the fold, what would it be? Yeah, we do need scouring the Shire. Sweeping away everything post-mortem. Jeez. Digital, I always come back, fall off, just got laid off, so I'm back. Ah. Well, I hope you can find something quick. And I hope it doesn't put too much of a damper on the livelihood and everything. You need the break, it's all good? Oh, there you go. So, I want to know more. That's how you know it's a good update. Yo, Gin! Thank you for the raid, buddy. What's happening, man? Welcome, Raiders. Giao Netto. Thank you for the follow, buddy. Welcome. As we're just kind of hanging out, talking about, you know, that information that dropped a few hours ago. For y'all you guys coming in, let me know what you are excited about. Well, I don't think so, Coco, because in some regards, we're past that in the story, and some not. So they're gonna do some timeline stuff. Power revamp sounds interesting because it will add a layer of resource management. Yes, we're going back to the old way of doing things. Well, you know, that was intentional. That was intentional. Just do stuff with the blue wizards. But they're in Rune. That's fair. That's fair. I'm glad that we're getting you know, a good dose of PvE and PvP content. Yeah, should be a social game. I agree, dude. 100%. It's an MMO. Ah, yes. Bring back a good old Jajax. Well, regardless, I think this is an important update. No, this would be wishful thinking. The trainers are just useless. Can't they make the trainers do something more? I think that was one of the choices I'd had to be at. Maybe. Yeah. Let's see what actually ends up on BR when. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a good year for content and content creation. A week or two from now? For what? Yeah, I might have some of the Q1 stuff on it. That's a good idea, Zangor. Kind of like you could do the level 50 stuff at the skirmish camps. If anything, it would be for low level with trainers, because story-wise, our 140 characters don't need training anymore. And that's kind of true. That's valid. Well, I think we need more more frequent bull roars with more persistent access. We should teach the trainers. Right. I do want to throw this out there since the announcement is there in chat. I have updated all of the Extra Life stuff. So the 2023 campaign is open now. So just a heads up that if you are wanting to donate to Extra Life, you can do it through that link. The panel is up to date on mine as well, so you can do that as well. And that is going to be open all year long. That's the new class, trainer. Dibs on naming mine Megan. Strange that Q1 is named targeted class updates and every other. Well, because they probably don't know which ones they're going after yet in the other quarters. They already do know which ones they're doing in Q1 with Captain and Warden. So maybe that's all that means. Maybe not. I don't know. Because they're literally doing class updates all year long. So this came out of their pitch meeting. They haven't started yet. Oh man. Well, I think this, like I said, I think this is a good start. I would love to see how all of this pans out in the coming year. I would like to see what else that entails with, you know, the performance side of things and all that good stuff. You know, we know they've been working on the 64-bit servers. We know they've been working on the 4K UI. We know they've been working on all these other things. We just don't have anything tangible yet for it. And I know that can be frustrating for a lot of people because, you know, a lot of us are paying for this service and we have expectations, and those expectations haven't necessarily been met. How much you want to bet that one of the raids is Tar, get out of here. Here's the question. Did the Malices update today or not? Has anybody done a tier 10 today? They can tell me what the Malices are. Because if not, I'll find out here in a minute. The Revenge of Hellscam. All right, let's roll in here. Wait for everything to finish loading. I've got that like jitter screen right now. There we go. Okay, so which